Thanks for coming. This is the first one. You might be the only one. So can you hear me? Doesn't seem like so. It seems like just you. There was a few other people who were interested, but I know 6 p.m. on a Friday isn't the most convenient time. And I'm sorry, I'm looking above. Just I have a screen there and the webcam is here, so um, it's nice if I look at this webcam, but it's much easier if I look up here. So the floor is yours. I have until 7. Yes, it is sunny. I have until 7, so you can ask me anything really, anything you'd really like. So that's 40 minutes, and the floor is yours. So you don't have to stay if you don't want to. You can go and enjoy the sunshine if you'd like as well. So if you have any burning questions, nutrition wise, healthcare, philosophy, mental health, personal stuff. Bearing in mind this is a public domain and I can't give you any medical advice. What's my diet like? So the long answer is, well, I'd probably say at the moment it's a mainly low carb, so low carbohydrate, with bouts of fasting, mostly kind of unintentional fasting. What I mean by that is I don't time it in. Mainly focus on ancestral foods and reduced processed foods. So that's a summation. I'd probably say, like, let's say on a Monday, I would. So actually, in the mornings, if I work out, I have a protein shake with berries, whey protein, goat milk, cacao powder, and an isotol. And even though that is slightly high in carbs, I've seen that I can go with that and have that and not need to have lunch, and it gives me like a good buzz for most of the day. And then in the evening, I usually have a big meal, usually salmon. I'm eating a lot of salmon now, on kind of 3 to 4 times a week, and then vegetables like broccoli, sprouts, cabbage, and then once in a while I'll have raw kind of honey, fried in cheeses and stuff like that. And I will have fruit in the summer, like berries, and I had a kiwi a few days ago, and mangoes and stuff like that. But that's not most of it. Mostly it's meat, and if it isn't salmon, I'll have heart or kidney. And then my parents are Sri Lankan, so we have a lot of Sri Lankan food here as well. So kind of variations of that, but just a lower carb version. But yeah, kind of learned my body and have figured out that I sometimes don't need a lot of food. Sometimes I do. If I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I'm not, I don't. And then if I've worked out just to get the oh, you love Thai food, nice. That's where you're from, Abdul. Oh, you're Bengali, nice. I don't think, not sure if I've had Bengali food. What sort of stuff do you normally eat? Let me have a look. Maybe I have, because I'm from a place where it's multicultural. But I've had loads of different types of food. You like fish? It says freshwater fish. A lot of fish. That's good. And rice and potatoes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the problem with Asian and South Asian food. Yeah, if you reduce the I mean, I don't know. It depends on what you like and what you want in terms of health and diet, and what's working for you. But yeah, I usually find that in the South Asian community, if we reduce the carbohydrate component of our meals and swap any seed oils with coconut oil or extra virgin olive oil, then it becomes a supreme diet. That's all you need to do, and it becomes a very good diet because we have vegetables, and herbs and spices. So if you reduce potato, if one reduces the rice and herb and potatoes and the carbs, if that's what you're looking for, metabolically it becomes a very healthy option. But that's like most diets anyway. Do you have any questions? So you wanted to know about water, filtration systems and stuff like that. I don't know if you want me to go through that now, or if you would like to read the thing I'm writing in the moment. All right, okay. So, as you know, maybe on Twitter, you see me rant about water. So primarily, like from the UK, we don't worry about tap water too much because we've kind of sorted out the problems of pathogens and lead, mainly the main two things that used to contaminate water, and in some parts of the world they still do. Now we have a problem of manufactured toxins, and other things like medication that goes to the urine and goes into the water systems. So they're an issue, but they're not a issue that's highlighted from loads of reasons. But I think for mainly because the actual time, there's a time lag between the consumption of water and the disease state. And in that time lag also you have everything else that can cause diseases, like light or the lack of light during the day and light at night, ill health, bad diets, chronic diseases, the pollution in the air, and so on and so forth. So it becomes kind of muddied, and then we don't know if it's the water that's causing it. And because the water isn't the poison, and there's that time lag, we don't associate water with these disease states. If I drank some water and then I had bad tummy or diarrhea, become very well, then you kind of know, right? So that's the main problem. The other thing is there's a inverted U association with some toxins and biological factors, which means basically you would think that if you had more toxins, it would be a dose response relationship. So the more you had, the more unwell you would become. But actually, what we've seen is many toxins, when there's a low and there's a high amount, it doesn't affect the body too much. We're not sure why. There's a few theories. It's to do with receptors and it being turned off or not turned on enough if there's a little or too much. So the dose response is an inverted U shape, where actually it's medium amount of toxins. We don't know how much that is in terms of different toxins and what the interaction between different types of toxins are, but it's this medium level. And I think we're getting into a stage in society where we're reaching this medium level of consumption in terms of amount and also in terms of time, and start to kind of accumulate. So we have PFAs. I'm not going to remember the whole name of it. We have kind of estrogens and stuff in the water as well from the pill, and that going into water. And we have fluoride. So the UK government are increasing fluoride, and saying it's because it helps with dental problems, which is true. So there is a good evidence for fluoride helping with the strengthening of one's enamel. However, in the primary studies that they showed that where people had stronger teeth and high fluoride levels, people actually had more yellow teeth, but they had stronger teeth. But they also had linked worsening neurological issues. So it's like, okay, we have stronger teeth, but at what cost? And actually, it's topical fluoride. So fluoride on our teeth in toothpaste. That's where the main benefit is. Ingesting it by drinking fluoride doesn't do us any favors, and it doesn't help us in terms of our dental care. So that's where the confusion lies. Yeah, so that's why they add fluoride for toothpaste. So toothpaste for fluoride, yeah. So as long as you're not ingesting it, as long as you're not, accidentally gargling it, ingesting it, then people say that fluoride in toothpaste is okay. But obviously, there's a spectrum of individuals and how careful you want to be. And so some people, even a minimal dose in your mouth, or in terms of your toothpaste, is going to be more a high concentration in that than tap water. So even taking a bit of that over time, people could say, that could affect you. And there's other things that help with dental care. So dental care, other than fluoride. So other microminerals found in organ meats, not eating sugar, not having cavities, and actually looking after your teeth. Because loads of countries don't actually have fluoride-based. Well, I think they do now, but in the past they didn't have fluoride-based toothpaste. And actually, there's some evidence that people in the countryside who weren't affected by the kind of pollutants and poor food habits had actually better teeth. So, there's a good video I can link you later about the whole industry and why we have kind of fluoride in toothpaste. It's, I think, after World War II, because they needed people to have a better dentition. Miswak. So I use a thing called let me have a look. I use a thing called euthymol. And actually primarily started using it because it had low levels of, I believe so, BPA, which is a chemical form of estrogen. It's environmental estrogen, and I believe euthymol had lower levels of that. So I wanted to reduce that basically, and then I also realized that it also had lower levels of fluoride. Yeah, so euthymol, EUTHYMOL, and it's a toothpaste that was actually used in like World War II and stuff. So I have other kind of Twitter followers who said that their grandparents still use euthymol and they're fine in terms of their teeth. So yeah, so I use euthymol. I buy it online, and it says here you can buy it in Boots as well. So use miswak. I'm not sure if was it you that I? Yeah, it does have SLS. Yeah. So that's the thing, because of the foamy, the foam, it has SLS, which is not great. There's some kind of animal studies that are showing that's not good. It's not great. So yeah, I'm thinking of changing my toothpaste as well. Because I think you find SLS in shampoo as well. This is where my knowledge is being tested. So miswak. So what is miswak? Ah, yes. Yeah, that's the twig, isn't it? Ah, yeah. They use that in India. I remember using it once as a child when I went to India. I think it was miswak, and they remove from the tree, make kind of bristles on it, and then they brush their teeth. Is that right? Do you find it useful? And how long have you been using it for? Yeah, I might have to look into it because yeah. Do you buy it from? I think. Where do you buy it from? And does it come in packages? Oh, 3 months. Okay. Fine. Yeah, it says helps plaque, helps fight gum disease. It also strengthens your enamel, leaves with a healthy mouth. There's another one. I don't know if I've linked you before. that uses a mouth. It like helps with the mouth microflora and uses cinnamon as well. So there's, um, there's that as well. I think just mainly removing rubbish or food matter in the mouth is probably step one, and then having a good diet is step two. But I mean, topical fluoride has some evidence in terms of helping with the enamel, but so does a lot of other things. So yeah, might look into miswak. So thank you. It's one thing. It's one thing that I've kept in my mind out of many that I've needed to research and start using. Okay, thank you. So now back to water. Unless you have any other questions in terms of toothpaste. So yeah, so you have these three things. You have more. You have lots of other toxins in the water. You have these three major things. So I spoke about fluoride. Well, actually, I didn't complete it. So fluoride has shown to be linked with a lower mental kind of intelligence in children, up to 6.5 IQ points, and it's known as a neurotoxin. So, I mean, it baffles me why they would now be adding. So they're going to increase the amount of fluoride into the water. How that approach rather than focusing on more proper dental hygiene and things like that, and actually reduced sugar and things like that. But let's not get into the kind of politics of kind of public health measures. So you have fluoride. Then I talked about PFAs and other. Yeah. So let me remember. I'm not sure if it's an endocrine disruptor because some of the toxins in water are endocrine disruptors, and endocrine disruptors they disrupt fertility and other kind of it causes kind of problems in certain windows of an individual's life. So mainly young people in terms of the fertility, but also a pregnant woman. So the growth of a fetus and kind of before conception. So that window before conception, and then probably up to 5 years of age of a child is a very important time where I think estrogen and testosterone and other kind of hormones need to be protected and not be disrupted by external disruptors. So let me just have a look. Mixed. There's mixed associations. So in animal studies and old studies have shown some, a review for toxicity. So 1998 study showed decreased fertility in most kind of animal studies. But human studies haven't really reflected that, and I think there's the studies are old. So the recent 1994 study showed there's no evidence associated between fluoride exposure in pregnancy and a risk of female infertility. I mean, we have to look at things as a spectrum. It's very easy to go like, toxin causes infertility, this causes infertility, where actually different things can cause infertility, but at different strengths. So I would say kind of obesity is a major risk factor of infertility. And, if you have excess weight, rather than removing fluoride, first I'll probably focus on weight, if you know what I mean. So loads of things can cause it, but in different degrees. But yeah, I haven't personally done extensive research on fluoride and pregnancy, but the cohort studies, which are population studies. But yeah, and then you have yes. So you have increased risk. It doesn't mean you're not going to have children if you are certain, if you have certain health conditions or not. But it just increases risk. I used to work in a fertility clinic, or I worked alongside a doctor, and the phone calls were of people who had infertility issues were more likely to be from women who are of an unhealthy weight, either low or high, than individuals who weren't. But again, that's can also be a bias, because people who seek help are generally unhealthy, or unhealthy anyway. That's why they're seeking help. So you have to look at things like that. But yeah, but obesity is known as a risk factor. But you have individuals and people who do okay. Yeah. So the study is an old one, a 1994 study. There's another one that showed it might be. So it's mixed. So at the moment we don't know, but we do know that it causes neurotoxicity it can cause neurotoxicity and issues with intelligence in children. So for that reason, I'll probably stay away if you can. I will say if you can. So okay, so we tackle fluoride, and then the other endocrine disruptors, and then PFAs, which are kind of forever chemicals made, like non-stick pans, non-stick pots and pans, and also some waterproof tech gear have this layer of these things, and they're called forever chemicals because they're very difficult to be destroyed. So they just kind of accumulate in the environment and in us. And then microplastics found in high levels, actually, in lakes and rivers and streams in the UK. I've seen things. I said that. Water. So, few things. So I don't know if. So I'll be looking. Basically, I get to the point. So I've been looking at different things because I'm moving, and I still drink tap water, and I'm looking to buy a filter system. And again, one of those things where it just kind of slipped my mind. So there's a few things. So you've seen the Brita kind of pictures. You have the filters you can attach to your actual tap. You have the gravity filter, which basically you pour water in, seeps down into filters, and then you drink from there. You have the kind of under the sink reverse osmosis filter, and you have distillation filters and UV filters. So in terms of the most efficient of what you're getting, in terms of the price as well, I think personally what I'm going for is a type of gravity filter called the Berkey filter. It's expensive. I mean, the smallest they recommend is $345, so you can get it for like 250, 300 pounds, and that's for 1 to 2 people, and then they have different sizes. It's a metal kind of cylindrical shaped tin. It's a gravity filter with an additional 2 filter system inside, and their website said it removes PFAs, PFCs, which are very similar to PFAs, 97% of fluoride, but other websites say no, sorry, so 97% fluoride. So not all fluoride, and then heavy metals, nitrates. Oh, really? Okay. And all viruses and microplastics, and it keeps essential minerals in. So it keeps the essential minerals. So you don't have to re-add minerals. You don't need a power supply. It's not noisy. I think it looks quite nice. It looks quite rustic. It's big, so you need space. That's the one downside. And it's low maintenance, so you only have to change the filter once or twice a year. So you change it every 22,700 liters of water inside. So that's the positives. The negatives, yeah, it's big. It doesn't remove all the fluoride. Yes, me too. It also helps us with gut microbiome issues as well, because anything and everything dies in a well, but people still seem to be okay. But yeah, so the Berkey filter is something I'm looking to purchase. Now the other like posh stuff, you can get the reverse osmosis, and they remove more. So some websites say it removes 100%, 99% of fluoride. So you can remove more fluoride. Some say 95, and then it removes everything else as well. And that's basically a kind of pressurized system where it like pushes. It's under the sink. You connect your cold water system to the filter and use a pressurized system to push this water at high pressures into reverse osmosis. So it goes against the current and removes toxins and viruses and small particles and loads of different things from the water. It's just noisy. It can reduce the overall water flow pressure, and it uses up to 3 to 6 times much water to use that system than if we were just using a tap. So it uses a lot of water. But so that's the other thing so those two things remove PFAS and stuff. Yes. So good question. Yes, it is. Well, nuanced. So blue light is a spectrum of light, and we're looking at red light and blue light. So if you take light in total, normal white light, there's a blue side and the red side. Red has a longer wavelength, and that's why you see it as a sunrise and sunset, because it's the last to leave. But the normal sunlight has blue, but it's the dysregulation of when you get it, because we're constantly bombarded by devices, phones, laptops, and that's mainly giving us blue light light and that light spectrum at the wrong time. So during the night, basically during the night. So if there's a dysregulation, so if there's that's not dysregulation, if there's a dysynchronicity, I guess, between light against when you're supposed to see light, when you're supposed to see darkness, and light itself, then you get issues. So light itself, basically you want to go by the sun. So when it's light, go outside, get as much sunlight as you can, and look at your screens, and that's okay. But yeah, much kind of sunlight as you can. Yes, and I'll get to that in a second. And then in terms of nighttime, as dark as you can. Dark as you can, for one reason, it's shown that even a nightlight at night when you're a child can increase the risk of short-sightedness. And then in terms of metabolic health, light at the wrong time can cause a lot of issues, because light controls a lot of hormones, insulin, I'm getting mind blank, stress hormones, and melatonin, and loads of other things. So the sun was the first thing here, and so all animals respond to light the most in terms of water, food, shelter, light. Even though we need the other things more acutely, in terms of a long-term thing, we've been an animal on this planet, and our ancestors and every other organism, apart from deep sea kind of animals that don't use a lot of light, use light, and it regulates our circadian rhythm and everything else. So if that's disrupted, a huge amount of biology is disrupted. In terms of Wi-Fi, I want to say there's not enough data proving, but it's not wrong or so out there for people to be worried about Wi-Fi. It's a new technology. It's based on wavelengths, and the phone actually. So the iPhone. So I know it's not Wi-Fi, but technology basically get away with a lot of things when they actually patent the technology. So the iPhone isn't actually patented to or manufactured to be used on the ear. It's supposed to be used out here, but they don't. It's no one uses a phone out there, but we don't know why it's not allowed on the ear. So, and there's some evidence in Wi-Fi interfering with, I believe, heart rhythms, if I'm correct. Checking I'm not making things up. Yeah, exposure to Wi-Fi affects heart rhythm, blood pressure, and catecholamines on the cardiovascular system. So, in a good way, I assume. Yeah, NNEMF, like 5G microwaves, light bulbs, they're everywhere. It's similar to Wi-Fi. And again, I'd say avoid as much as you can. I mean, that's why I love going to the forest. I mean, that's one out of many reasons, because you can't use your phone, you're just sheltered from that. There are people who put anti kind of EMF meshwork in their walls of their house, and use only kind of Ethernet cables to as a connect to the internet, but you can't really get away from it if you live in the city. That's the thing. You know, especially if you live in London or in a bit major city, it's everywhere. So I think being a healthy individual is paramount. It's you know, life's becoming so technology focused. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could say it's too much, but I mean, what is too much? You know, it's for some people, kind of filtering water is too much, but for others, you know, it's not a big deal. Oh, are you? Okay, yeah. So that's the thing. So it's probably a bet. Is that because of Wi-Fi or just because of ease? Okay, okay. Yeah. I mean, you might be doing yourself some health favors by doing that. But yeah, it's everywhere. So that's why I don't like to constantly scaremonger. I don't try to scaremonger. I don't want to, but unfortunately, the truth is unsavory. You know, it's not. We are living in a world where. Oh, okay, cool. Did you notice the difference, or was that what you were talking about between the Ethernet cable and? Hmm. I probably would turn Wi-Fi off at night. Oh, wow. In what way? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What difference did you notice when you turned it off in comparison when you kept it on? Okay. Yeah. So that's the thing, isn't it? We don't know until we test, and there's no harm of testing and turning off. You know what I mean? So if it makes a difference, then yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I'd say turning off at night using a timer. You know, just a socket timer, like those kind of old school ones where you can kind of pull and push on your Wi-Fi router, so you're not, because you don't need Wi-Fi at night. And I'm sure I've seen Wi-Fi affecting dreams. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. There's one study that it didn't show outward difference in people's sleep, but sleeping next to Wi-Fi reduction in global EEG power and alpha frequencies. So there was difference in the frequencies in the brain while sleeping near a Wi-Fi. So like there's lots of stuff. There's lots of stuff. So you've got 4 minutes. I'm sorry I started late. It was technical I had loads of technical difficulties, but I know you arrived later as well. Do you have any questions in the next 4 minutes or anything? I want to say thank you for joining my Patreon. You and the other individuals have been a great help. Obviously leaving my career and needing a route. Diet summary. You want my summary or? So would you like? We need doctors. I will say I'm still here. I just can't give medical advice. I can give everything else. I can give it just before medical advice. So diet summary. You want a diet summary? I'm writing. Obviously, as you can see in Patreon, once a week I'm adding on to the guide on weight loss, and I'll be getting onto what I do and what I think the optimal way of losing weight and keeping it off for muscle growth and weight gain. Depends on what you want, but I would say mainly low carb. I go into keto when I fast. Lots of organ meat and salmon, and cruciferous vegetables. Once in a while, here and there, I take medicinal mushroom supplements and I drink mushroom tea. Herbs and spices. No seed oils if I can avoid. Lots of extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil, and no processed meats, mainly fresh meats and fish. And I, in the summer, have a bit more fruit and raw honey, but I don't get too attached. If I'm at a party, I'm having okay. So if I'm at a party or I'm out, it's all good. I'm not going to be stressed. So to have the metabolic flexibility of having a cake, having a kebab is okay. Once in a while. Optimal diet and workouts for muscular strength. Yes. So that's another thing on the list. And for men, okay. When you mean men, do you mean like testosterone and fertility? Because I was thinking working something for women. I am thinking of writing a lot more. There's stuff in the works. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to write and there's a lot to research. I enjoy it, but I'm trying to churn out as much as I can in terms of Patreon content weekly. I hope you're enjoying the mushroom stuff. It's quite deep, and the nutritional stuff is also deep as well. But I want people who follow the stuff I follow, listen, you guys, to really be like ahead of everyone in terms of scientific knowledge. Like I'm talking about gut hormones and protein affecting CCK and things like that. But I think, oh wow, wow. Do you know why? That's really sad. Young as in me young or 40s? Mm. Abdullah, I've been to many funerals. I'm going to one on Wednesday, I think. Well, I mean, I'm going to one on Wednesday. Yeah. And I've recently, well, I've had a family friend who's recently died. Yeah, that is not normal. I knew a colleague of mine who passed away very young, younger than that. He's my friend who very early on. So in terms of that, I am also working on something. Yes, I'm working on something, and that will be available on my website soon. It's extremely sad because it's avoidable. It's all avoidable, and you dismantle families. You dismantle families, and suffering becomes normalized, and it should never become normalized. The life of an individual should never become normalized. It's the most precious thing you have. Your life, your health, your family, your memory, and your children. And people shouldn't be dying in their 30s or their 50s, 60s. They shouldn't be having cancers or heart disease, or falling dead, and we should not be ignoring them. That's the saddest thing, and the thing that angers me, because the elephant is in the room, and it's going to be there until we face it. Nothing will be sorted out until we face it. And I'm not saying one thing is causing it or not. We don't know exactly yet, but it seems likely. But we're never ever going to sort it out until we say, okay, we need to sort it out, and more people are just going to start to collapse. So yeah, that's why I'm passionate about it. Okay, Abdul, I hope you found this helpful. I'm thinking of doing more. I expected more people, but it doesn't matter. I'm glad you were here, and you got one-to-one session about things. But I think you're quite kind of screwed on regardless anyway, so it's quite nice to speak to you. I'll see what I can do in terms of the other things you've said. If you have any questions, just message me on Patreon. Make that your next post on optimal diet workout. If I get into a subject, I dive into it. So I will add the diet and workout. It will be coming up when I'm doing my personal nutrition, because that's part of thingy. So so it will be, if it's not soon, it will be sometime this year, because I want it to be of good quality. And thank you, and that's very nice of you. I'm very grateful to find you guys, and for you to actually have thought I was worthwhile to actually log on and listen to me. So so thank you. So yeah, thank you very much. Message me if you have any questions on Patreon. Obviously on Twitter, I'm always ranting, and I will see if this might be a regular thing. I might change it, and I wanted to do face-to-face stuff, so you can actually ask me a question face-to-face, but YouTube Live was a lot more simpler to do and kind of set up. So we will see, and maybe as more people come in, I can change it into something else. But anyway, thank you so much. I'll stop rambling. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.